Hey, beautiful souls, beautiful sunshine here with the R Holistic Killer, aka Sonia B. I am back with another prophetic message. I actually received this message on the 21st, which was Friday, but I'm actually having to re-record this message. But anyway, so with all that being said, I just want to say, if you guys are new to my channel, I just want to say welcome. And for those of you who are returning back, I want to say welcome back. Keep in mind that these energies could be happening right now at this present moment. Some of you, depending on your location on the planet, it may have already happened to you, some of you guys. So anyway, and I say all that to say that these energies can go a few days from now. These energies can take place a couple of weeks from now. These energies can go even a month out. Again, depending on your location on the planet, whether you're on the East Coast, the West Coast, the Southern Hemisphere, the Northern Hemisphere, all of that plays a factor of when the energy will reach you. And so keep that in mind as well too. So just because it may not be happening right now at this present moment does not necessarily mean that it may not happen in the near future. So keep that in mind as well too. And for those of you who are new to my channel and you don't know, I am a Reiki practitioner. I am also a Reiki master teacher. I am intuitive, clairvoyant, Hayoka empath who receives divine prophetic dream messages. I also receive intuitive messages as well too. So sometimes you will see me post intuitive messages and not necessarily a prophetic message. I also receive intuitive messages through music as well too. You know, sometimes God Soul Spirit is giving me a song that's, you know, letting me know what the collective is going through at that, you know, specific point in time. I also receive messages through just spirit animals as well too. You know, sometimes they show up in my dream, or sometimes God Soul Spirit is also speaking to me just by letting me see and know, you know, certain situations that's taking place, or what energy that some may need to be embodying at this time. So anyway, with all that being said, let's get right into the message. I do want to definitely say, for those of you who have not noticed, and I'm sure that we're all going through something, I don't want you guys to think that just because a lot of us who are on YouTube are sitting behind the cameras, thinking that our life is perfect and in order, because nobody's life is perfect and in order. We're all going through something. So I say all that to say, I know I've been talking about the energies ramping up, and the energies are definitely ramping up, and I'm going to just give you my brief testimony when I'm done with you know, sharing these prophetic messages with you guys, just to let you know that I think people think with spirituality, or just, you know, just having a relationship with God, like everything is going to be peaches and cream. No, that's not the case, because God basically, what I'm hearing right now, God basically wants us to go deep down within our minds, bodies, souls, and spirits, and basically dig out any crevices, is what I'm hearing, any calcium. You know, you think about how calcium builds up, crust, whatever, however you want to refer to it. He wants us, and these are things that are deep rooted, is what I'm hearing, from not just maybe this lifetime, and not from just maybe this lifetime, as well as other lifetimes as well too. Because, you know, one thing about the body, when we leave this earth, we leave this vessel, this body, but our soul remains on. Meaning, like, when we live another life, we take on another body, but our soul remains the same. So everything that we have experienced from one lifetime after one lifetime after one lifetime, you know, it's still embedded into our soul. It's imprinted into our soul. Not necessarily the body, because again, the body is just the avatar. It's the vessel that we come in. It's the body that we chose to take when we came, you know, to earth, or whatever the case may be. You know, and I'm not asking you to believe what I believe, but I'm sharing my input on what God Source Spirit had basically shown me, because I've seen myself in multiple lifetimes. I've seen my loved ones in different, I've seen my loved ones also in different shapes. Well, when I mean shapes, I don't mean like a square or a circle or anything like that, but just in different shades, different colors, different nationalities. Let me just say that. So with all that being said, I just wanted to let you guys know that. So if anybody's trying to act like everything is perfect and costatic behind the scenes, it is not. Again, we're all here to learn lessons and to basically deal with, in a sense, anything that is deep rooted way down in our way deep down in our heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit, as well as our subconscious mind as well too. that one, we've hidden from ourselves in order to adapt to this world, to adapt to the people around us. And that's why it's no more adapting to the people around us or trying to adapt. It's more so of dealing with those deep-seated issues. But anyway, so with all that being said, let me get right into the message. So one of the two, I kept receiving like two messages that was just letting me know that we're in that energy where we're really dealing with a lot of emotional energy. And I say that to say because one dream showed up as it was a pool, and there was a woman sitting on the side of the pool. The kids were playing in the pool. So that was just letting me know that, you know, some people are, it's just letting me know that some people are going with the flow. And not only are they going with the flow, it's like maybe whatever life brings your way, you deal with it, you move on. And not that you move on and you don't address it, but you move on. It's like you liberate yourself and you just wait for the next wave to come, in a sense, if that makes sense. You know how like an ocean goes and it comes in waves. So in other words, whatever life brings you in that wave, that's why I always say go with the flow, you know, and then it's whatever the next wave brings you. So I say all that to say some people are just embodying that type of energy, but they're learning to, as well as have fun and enjoy themselves and be in the mindset of not really taking life and everything that we're going through too seriously, in a sense. So I say all that to say there was an adult sitting on the edge of the pool, and they was just kind of sitting back and just kind of monitoring the kids or whatever. So some people are in a point of just kind of sitting back and observing other people and just not really, what I'm hearing is not really participating, but just kind of watching other people. Just kind of watching other people, in other words. So, but yes, but take it how it resonates with you. Are you standing by just watching others as they, you know, enjoying themselves? Or are you going to find yourself, you know, jumping into that pool and enjoying yourself as well too, and not allow the situation or the circumstances that each and every one of us are going through to overwhelm you? So the next dream I saw, I was like crossing this body of ocean. I'm not really even sure if it was a bridge there, but if it was a bridge there, a bridge usually represents, because it was kind of like I was driving over the bridge, but I didn't really see the road. You know how you're looking out the side window and you just seeing nothing but ocean? That's kind of like how it was. So if I was there in a car driving, car usually represents me that you're in control of you're in control of where it is that you choose to drive your soul. And you just basically have control over the wheel, of control over your destiny, where it is that you want to go. So if you want to go left and see what left has to offer you, or if you want to go right and see what right has to offer you, that's totally up to you. You know, it just depends on what you choose and how you choose, and what I'm hearing Spirit say, whether you're choosing from a logical standpoint or whether you're choosing from your heart standpoint. And I say that to say because right now we're in those energies of where whatever it is that we love and whatever it is that our heart is so desiring, and there's a difference between the two. I don't mean like, because what I'm hearing Spirit say, don't get it confused with, let's just say hypothetically, if somebody meets somebody and be like, oh my God, you feel like somebody's tugging at your heartstrings. No, it's not that type. It's not something that's quick and easy. As I said before, and I've said many times before, that anything that comes quick and easy is not gonna last. You know, it'll be sure to be gone just as quick as it came. So I say all that to say, I mean, like, what is it that you want deep down in your heart? What is it that you're desiring? What is it that you're thinking about? And think about yourself. Why are you wanting it? Are you wanting it from a healthy standpoint? Are you wanting it from an unhealthy standpoint? So keep that in mind as well too. But anyway, so the car represented, if I was driving in a car, like I said, I knew I was going over water, but it just felt like kind of like my hand was like out of the window. But again, I didn't see the car or whatever. Couldn't see steering wheel, couldn't see nothing. I just saw basically the body of ocean as if I was driving over the ocean. It represents you're in control of your destiny, where it is you choose to go. And whatever choices that you make, you know, there are lessons to be learned along the way, especially if I'm not going to say whether it's the wrong choice or the right choice, because sometimes the wrong choices lead us to the right choices because they're lessons that are learned. And sometimes it's like a child who touches a fire. when the fire is hot, sometimes people keep touching and thinking that they're not going to get burnt. In some cases, people do end up getting burnt several times in order for them to learn the lesson of to not touch the fire again, or to keep repeating the same cycles again. Anyway, so bridge usually symbolizes bridging a gap between usually heaven and earth. Okay, so with that being said, I truly believe at this time, God's soul spirit is allowing us to bring up any emotions, any feelings that we got buried deep down inside. And it's almost like we're getting more in tune with our higher selves, and what I'm hearing spirit say. So in other words, if you imagine the bridge being there, it's almost like bridging the gap between, you and God also as well too. Having that relationship. So if some of you, because sometimes God will turn up the heat and allow us to experience so many different things, so many different turmoils, feelings and emotions, and, ups and downs and trials and tribulations, just to the point so we can be like, okay, God, I'm so tired. I surrender. I have nothing else left to give. It's kind of like me, what I did with that video the other day when I talked about some people have been sleeping with the enemy. And I say all that to say pertaining to their jobs or whatever. But I say all that to say that it was like in the dream when the lady was in the bed, with my spouse or whatever, who was in the dream. And she was representing the job, should I say. I was just sitting there and I wanted to cry, but it's like I had nothing else left to give. It's almost like I was raking up tears or trying to get myself to cry. So that's just letting me know that some of you guys are experiencing that situation, to the point that when I'm hearing spirit say that you haven't cried in so long, to the point that it's like those tears are slowly but surely trying to reach the surface, in a sense. Because you guys been kind of blocking yourself off, just like, sometimes we experience certain things as a kid, and we tend to what's the word? We tend to protect ourselves. Thank you, Spirit. We tend to protect ourselves because we deal with certain experiences as a kids, as adults, and it's almost like, when you experience a certain thing, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna never ever let that happen to myself again. So we put up walls and stuff that keep us from being hurt. So a lot of times, keeping us from being hurt allow us to not really get in tune with our feelings and emotions that are really buried deep down inside, instead of saying, why am I feeling this way? And those things happen too. So, I myself had done those things as well too, pertaining to my childhood, pertaining to certain circumstances that I have dealt with in my life too as well. But, slowly but surely, God's soul spirit was allowing me to open up my heart at the same time with just being honest and just being honest with myself. Because if I don't be honest with myself, I'm just gonna keep it's almost like keep repeating the same cycles and keep learning the same lessons if I don't just admit what it is that I'm feeling. So anyway, and then the ocean also, as I said before, bodies of water usually just represents, the feelings, the emotions that are buried deep down inside. And there's a lot of feelings, when you see oceans, it's just letting me know it's a lot of people just kind of like in their feelings right now. But what I'm hearing spirit say is, are they being honest with themselves? Are they expressing their true feelings and emotions, or are they suppressing them? That's the key. And this next dream was about, okay, so this next dream was, some of you guys may experience a situation where either you're on the receiving end of this or you are the one that's doing this. Some of you guys are going to find yourself looking at certain people like they're stuck up, in a sense. And I say that to say, like, you think that they're stuck up because, and let me explain to you, because in the dream it came as if I was like, there was a young lady in the dream and she had these spiritual gifts. And with her having these spiritual gifts, it's like a guy had came to me, but he didn't know that I knew her. So he came to me talking about her, and he basically said to her, he basically said to me, not to her. So it's like he knew what her spiritual gifts was, as if he had a prior conversation with her. He knew what her spiritual gifts were. And then he came and had a conversation with me. And I guess he didn't know that I knew her. So when he had a conversation, he was just saying something of the nature like, like, yeah, something like, I don't believe her or something like that. And, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, you know. But I say all that to say that in a dream, I told him, I said, yeah, I have those same spiritual gifts that she has too. And then it was kind of like, it kind of almost like went to the point of him feeling like that, I guess myself and the other young lady was like stuck up in a sense, and it wasn't the case. But I just want you guys to know and understand, if you are somebody who do have spiritual gifts and people start to look at you in that sense, allow them the space to figure out their own personal issues. Because the truth of the matter is, I know when I first started this journey, I even questioned the fact of, and they're entitled to their opinion, so it's no judgment. I even questioned the fact of, oh my God, is that like really real? It like, seriously, is that really real? And it wasn't until more time and time went on that I started to experience certain things myself, to the point that I started to realize, oh my God, like this is real. This is real. So I say all that to say, try not to come from a place of being judgmental towards them, or even trying to prove your point, is what I'm hearing Spirit say. You don't even need to go out of the way to prove your point, to make a point to them by proving to them that, you know, your spiritual abilities do work or whatever. Because in due time, you know, just like myself along the way, eventually they will eventually see that. And it's just at a point in time that they're on their path right now, you know, that's going to eventually lead them to possibly, oh, I do see now. I believe in fairies now, you know, kind of like that sense. Where did I hear that from? I think it was Peter Pan. I do believe in fairies. I don't know, one of those movies. Like, I do believe in fairies. But anyway, so yeah, so keep that in mind too. You don't need to prove a point to anyone in regards to what your spiritual abilities are, and so on and so on. Because we all have it. You know, even the ones who are in questioning of it, is just a matter of them, you know, getting in tune with, you know, with their own. So anyway, okay. So this other dream was about, okay, so I know school's about to start back, and I kind of got the feeling like there was this male, so take it as a male or take it as a female. I just want you to be mindful. So, because in the dream it came as a male, but I'm also feeling like just take it as a female as well too. I kind of got the feeling like it was like an uncle, like someone who was probably watching, helping to watch the kids. So what happened was, in this dream was, I felt like this uncle, or again, take it how it resonates, could be a female as well too, but it came in the form of an uncle. Is like school had started back, and then all of a sudden, with school starting back, it's like I saw that this uncle was going like to a bus stop to pick up the kids to bring them back to the house. In other words, like there was walking distance, and it wasn't just outside the home. So you needed to walk to the bus stop in order to get the kids. Well, he had a group of kids with him, and I want to say it was probably about 4 or 5 kids or whatever. But let me just say this, just be mindful if you're leaving your kids, and not necessarily leaving them, but just asking them to, you know, get your kids off the bus, or either just walk them to the house, or whatever the case may be. Because I saw this person kind of like making a decision. It was almost like the kids were sitting in the front of a bulldozer. You know, the bulldozers, the crane bulldozers that, you know, go like this, but it's the ones that sits like this, that digs up stuff or whatever. So the kids were sitting in the front of that, and he was sitting in the back where the dude was who was driving. And I was just like, that's so weird. But anyway, he was driving around with the kids in it. So I was just letting me know that that's a situation that's maybe a little bit irresponsible, as well as not only irresponsible, but not really taking into consideration the safety of the kids. And I'm not sure, because maybe they don't have kids of their own, so I'm not sure if this individual is a little younger and immature. So just be mindful of that too. You might just want to cross your T's and dot your I's, and just basically you know, let them know what you don't want your kids to do. Because I really have a feeling that this person wasn't coming from a place of being ill will or being being neglectful or whatever. I think it was just coming from a place of just being maybe a little immature for his decision making. So keep that in mind as well too. Okay, so this morning I'm just going to combine yesterday's and today's together. So this morning I heard the sound of a chainsaw. And the chainsaw, I was like, what? Just like a chain. I didn't see anything. I just heard the sound of a chainsaw going like. You know, it was being started up and it was just going. Then all of a sudden it just faded away. So I was like, okay, what is Spirit trying to say to me? So I basically got up and I looked at my phone. And basically it was just, you know, when you think about chainsaw usually cuts down stuff. You know, it cuts down stuff, or, you know, it cuts stuff in half, and, you know, it's separated. People use chainsaws to cut wood, and then they separate it. They take it into the house, and, you know, they burn the wood into the fireplace or whatever. So the chainsaw usually are representations for feelings, for one's feelings, and not really feeling remorseful in a sense, like, because sometimes people cut down stuff because they feel like they need stuff or whatever the case. You know, we need some wood, so let's go cut down a tree, not necessarily considering the fact of the tree, it's a living, you know, just because sometimes people just cut down trees, you know, randomly, and we all know that people do that a whole lot, you know, not considering the fact that, you know, less and less trees are probably being grown or whatever. So a disregard of feelings, or having no remorse in a sense, is usually a representation of a chainsaw. Or having little concern or consequences. Having little concerns or consequences, just like for your, let's just say for your actions, or whether, in other words. So as I said, that there's so many people that cutting down trees nowadays that they just do it like it's, you know, like you're changing, I ain't gonna say changing, it's like you're drinking a bottle of water. You needing water every day. So sometimes they're cutting down trees like that, in a sense, like it's having no concern or no consequences, thinking about if you cut down too many trees, then, you know, then how can life kind of help sustain itself, in a sense, if that makes sense to you. Know, those are the consequences behind it. But anyway, so the other one was the symbolism for the chainsaw also is to cut, serve, separate, and to cut down something. And let's see. And so keep that in mind too. So I think that maybe some people are just having little concern or consequences, or just not really thinking about if they do something, that there's consequences for their actions, in other words. Yeah, just having, you know, just because if you think about it, when like a lumber goes into the woods and they just cut down tree after tree after tree after tree, not thinking about it, oh, I done cut down too many trees now. So now all the animals who are in the forest, they really don't have any place to go. So now they're coming to like near our homes and stuff like that. That would be the consequence action of it. You know, the animals coming closer to people's homes because of them cutting down the trees and stuff. So, okay. That was just pretty much it. But let me piggyback off of the crossing over the water as well too. So crossing over the water too, because I also had to it's also a representation of change in your attitude. Some people, it's also a sign that some are letting go of their fears, their sorrow, as well as their regrets that they have, what decisions that they may have made. And sometimes, as I said before, it's the bridge and the gap between God and man, having that relationship. And sometimes it can also represent the bridge and the gap between heaven and earth, you know, having a closer relationship, you know, with the higher realms, you know, your angels, your guides, your spirit guides, and all that stuff. So, and then the pool was a situation of, the pool, because the kids were playing in the pool, was like connecting in a healthy way with their spirit and their psyche, in other words. So in other words, they understand that, you know, life throws us lemonade sometimes. Okay, they throw us lemonades, but are we going to sit there and just allow it to burden us? Or are we going to, you know, just kind of have fun in between where we can have fun at, in a sense? So it also said dream about water, or water reminds us that that our emotions are a force to be reckoned with. They can open our lives to a deepening and more natural experience, or they can threaten to overwhelm us if we leave them unattended for too long. So keep that in mind as well too. So, but anyway, that is it for that message. But I basically wanted to share my little testimony with you guys. And I just wanted to let you know that not only are you guys going through, but we all are going through. So if somebody is appearing to be like life is, all peaches and cream, because, I come with, love and light as well too. But this has been a situation where I couldn't, it's not about faking it in a sense. It was a matter of me just being real and authentic. And I say that to say, you guys know that I have been having problems with the one neighbor on the, okay, so I'm gonna just say the neighbor to the left of me if I'm facing my cars. So the neighbor to the left of me, and have had somewhat of an issue with the neighbor to the right. Not too big, because she tried to keep hers a little settled in a sense. But the one to the left, she had just been a little busybody. Let me just say that. But I say all that to say that there was an incident that happened on Thursday. So you guys know that you saw me do a previous video with me showing you just little stuff that I had to do in order to kind of like, kind of protect my kids and ourselves, because I just noticed that it was almost like coming in a form of, she was doing things that was just like totally outside of her character. Well, I say all this to say, because the other day I had to just literally sit there and journal, and I was just really writing down stuff, like just everything that she had done, from starting back to the time of, around about the time that me and my husband had separated, or he moved out, should I say, around about that time. There was a violation that she did, and it wasn't so much physically, but it was spiritually. I thought that was rude. I thought it was disrespectful. And not only that, but I think it was a point of, if you were really concerned about somebody, meaning like if you were doing your neighborly duties as God tells us that we should do, if you were doing your neighborly duties and you were really that concerned about me and you wanted to know what happened, rather than trying to tap into my energetic field as well as my spouse's energetic field to see what we're communicating about, or to see what we're talking about, in regards to us separating, that's none of your business, in other words. So I say all that to say that had happened, just to kind of give you a clue. That's why I said, you guys should really watch that movie Behind Her Eyes, because it kind of gives you a glimpse of what people have been able to do spiritually. I had no idea about this. I mean, I knew about it. I knew about psychic sparring probably about every bit of 2 years ago, because I had to start protecting myself. But I did not know that people were doing this all this time. So I say all that to say, from tarot readers to, even, I would even say, I would say tarot readers. You can even say myself in a sense, and I'm not saying myself, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. People who channel people's energy, should I say. I'm clairvoyant, as I said before too, but at the same time, the only difference between myself and someone else's, I don't go looking to tap into somebody else's energy field. In other words, I don't set the intentions. When I go to sleep at night, I just astral travel, and whatever God has me going, that's where it is that I go. So that's how I receive the information that I receive. So I say all that to say, I don't go to her house looking to see, because if I really wanted to, I probably could have, but that's not what I do. That's not me, because I know I wouldn't want somebody violating my energy field like that. So I don't do it to other people. So I say all that to say that I don't set the intentions of say, hey, I want to go here or I want to go there. If there's anything, I should say I want to go to Tahiti and find myself there in Tahiti. That's what I should be doing, because I really feel like I need a break. But anyway, with all that being said, I say all that to say there are some people who really sit with the intentions of, really tapping into somebody else's energetic field, and even binding their spirit with your spirit in order to see what it is that you're doing. That's just how deep it is. And I was just like, oh my God, like seriously? But anyway, so that's why it was so important for God to show me, God and my angels and my spirit guides and, the angels, all of them was just showing me how to spiritually protect myself, because you have to understand, my family, we didn't come from a place that we was taught these type of things. Some of these people, I believe that her mom had taught her these things, and it's just something that was passed down from one generation to the next cultural wise. Because the reason why I say that is because one day this is before I moved locations in the house. I was in a particular room and I kept hearing like this ball sound like a little handball, racquetball ball being thrown up against the wall. I was like, what is that noise? And it was really starting to kind of like irritate me because I felt like they were being funny. So it got to the point I basically called her next door. I said, hey, is there somebody throwing something up against the wall or whatever? And her tone was like, nope, there's nobody throwing up. Nope. I was like, you sure it's not, your daughter throwing something up against the wall? And then she was like, nope. I asked and she said, nope. And Spirit was just telling me she's lying. Anyway, I say all that to say that, her daughter was even, and then shortly after that, it's like Spirit had showed me that it's like her daughter was doing the same thing that she was doing, and to the point that she showed up and I had to spiritually block her out as well too. So I say all that to say it wasn't just the daughter, it was the mom as well. It was her mother who was doing all of this too as well. So it was just letting me know that God was letting me know like how that was just stuff that was being passed down from one generation to the next. So I didn't have any more problems with her daughter trying to show up or whatever the case may be. But then I had to, God was just showing me how to protect myself, spiritually, how to protect my home, so that way nobody's coming in psychically trying to spy or just coming in with lurking eyes or lurking ears or just psychically spying, period, spiritually, not physically. So I remember, my daughter had explained to me one time because she also had a dream too. And she told me, and I told you y'all that, it's a gift that I have, but I noticed my kids also have the gift too. But my daughter told me one time she had a dream that she saw the grandmother like trying to come into our house. We was outside the house, but she was like trying to come into our house spiritually to see what was going on in here. And then she tried to go into the neighbor's house next door on the other side of me into her house to see what was going on spiritually. But I was just like, what the? Seriously? But anyway, to make a long story short, I say all that to say those were just like some things that was just leading up to the issue that I was having. Well, I really felt like, and I say all this with all love and light, I hold space. Okay, I'm holding space. So I say I'm holding space, meaning like if I'm staying open, in other words. So I'm not going to completely say I'm done with you, I'm writing you off, I'm completely, but at this moment in time, I am. So I say all that to say, I truly believe like during this COVID-19, after I had a dream, during this COVID, I want to say like, was that back in January? I want to say like probably back in January. Either January or shortly after. I don't know. Somewhere back during maybe like January probably. I remember receiving, God was showing me how this is where the witchcraft part came in. She showed me that, spiritually she was trying to come on my property, and then, I heard her chanting, whatever it was she was trying to do. And in the dream, I remember telling her, get the F off my property, and it caught her off guard. And it's almost like she just kind of disappeared, should I say. And thank you, Lord. That's why I say it's so good to just have that relationship with God, because he shows you things. And I say all that to say that in leading up to that, it started becoming like, okay, so now she was just like doing like little, okay. At that point, after her doing it, I hadn't seen her for a while. Let me just say that literally during this whole COVID-19 thing, she had been in her house almost a whole year. Almost a whole year, because I didn't really see her too much. I saw her husband kind of come and go or whatever, but the grandma was in the house too, and they all was just kind of like in the house or whatever. But then there was a point in time that I actually saw the grandma. There was a point in time that I actually saw the grandma outside, but I was walking like I always do, minding my business. But this time when I saw her and when I realized it was her, she kind of like jumped or whatever, because I guess she realized that I can see what it was that they was doing behind closed doors. So I caught her off guard, because I guess she wasn't expecting it. But then when I saw her, as I said before, well, I crossed the street. I didn't even choose to stay on the same side of the street, because I didn't even want to associate myself with her, because it was just This is just all the stuff that was just building up. So I say all that to say, when I would see her, I wouldn't say anything to her. And I know some people probably say, oh, well, that's the elder people, you know, and, you know, you don't show them no respect. No, that's not about me not showing them respect. You know, when God shows me your intentions, I believe you for who you are. Whereas before I was like, oh, it's an old innocent lady, she wouldn't do that. You know, that was the old me that would thought that way. Or, oh, this child is, you know, this child wouldn't do that. The child is innocent. You know, some kids are innocent, but yeah, you got to also factor their environment and their upbringing, their parents, and, you know, all of that stuff. So now it's no more being just a little bit being naive or a little wet behind the ears. They're thinking that everybody comes being innocent, you know, and so on and so on. So I also learned too that they're from young people up to very old people. That just imagine an old person, being an old person, appearing to be old. And I'm not saying this does not apply to everyone. I'm just saying only when God brings it to my attention. You know, was just showing me like somebody could appear to be old, but you know what, behind their oldness, they're really truly a wizard in a sense. And, you know, who knows magic or whatever, but they come off, you know, thank you, Spirit. It's almost like Snow White. You remember when the witch had came, the queen had came trying to disguise herself as the old lady, bringing Snow White apples so that she can eat it and shine it up and make it look nice and pretty. It was like that type of situation, you know. So those are the situations that you should watch out for. And when you are in tune with your intuition, it just lets you know, okay, yes, you know, that's not a situation that I'm feeling sorry for you, because I see you for who you really are, in a sense. So in other words, she deceived Snow White because she shapeshift and cloaked herself as being old and coming off as innocent, and Snow White thought that she could trust her. But anyway, so yes, that's why I chose to exit stage to the other side of the street, because I saw her for who she really was. But anyway, with all that being said, her mom would do stuff like bring her, the mom, I'm referring to the grandma. The grandma would do stuff because she stayed with them, her and her husband, before her husband had actually passed, probably like about 4 or 5 years ago. And when the mom would bring the trash outside, I was like, why is she always bringing her recycling, like sitting her trash like close to, like, you know, because in our parking spots you have the little white lines that separate, you know, your parking space or whatever. I was like, oh, why is she always putting her trash like close to like our side and never in the middle of their two vehicles? I mean, never in the middle of their two vehicles. She would always sit her trash like close to our line. And I couldn't figure it out. But one day Spirit just had me to go out there as the grandma was bringing out the trash. You know what? That's why they say judge not. You know, because you never know the circumstances behind what was going on. Somebody else might have saw that and think, oh my God, like she's so disrespectful to that older lady. No, that older lady was being disrespectful to me and my household, because she really felt the need to try to dump all of her trash not dump her trash, but set her trash up close to my line, meaning that it would have either been by because my daughter parks there now, but she was doing that a lot even when my daughter's car was parked there. But even when my husband was here at the time, his car used to be parked there before my daughter had actually received her car or whatever. But nevertheless, when his car was there, before we had gotten her car, she would really pile up her trash like near our stuff, like trying to say, like, you know, like their shit doesn't stink, like it was almost like a form of disrespect. Like she thought we was trash, in other words. Like we thought that she was, you know, that we was trash. Let me just say that's all I can say. It is what it was. And it got to the point that I saw what she was doing. So one day when I saw her taking the trash and stuff out and setting it up, I politely went and got my trash and I put it very close to her stuff. And when she saw me doing that, then she backed up and she scooted her trash over, because I was sending a message to her like, you want to put your trash here? Okay, well, I'll put my trash here too. That way you get a feel of what that feels like for somebody to be trying to put their trash close to your stuff. So I started doing that. And sometimes you have to. That was my path. That's what I needed to follow. I'm not asking you to do what I do, but that's what I needed to do as a way to stand up for, my household, myself, or whatever. It was just little things along the way where, my husband would go out there and mow the grass or whatever, and it to the point that it started confusion in our own house. So I was like, stop mowing his grass or whatever, because I saw that the scales wasn't balanced. He would always, when he would cut the grass, he would basically allow him to cut the grass, in other words. And I noticed he was kind of doing that also with the other neighbor on the other side of him, to the point that he stopped cutting his grass. This is after my husband had left, that the guy on the other side of him was cutting his grass sometimes, but then he got to the point that he also stopped cutting his grass, because I truly believe that he started to see him for who he was as well too. So I say all that to say, and then it was the incident of, because never, when he came outside to cut his grass, he would never come over here and cut our grass, is what I'm saying. So you see where the scales have been unbalanced. Like, it's always about give to them, or take, and never give, and never really giving. Well, their giving was coming in the form of food. And I know this now to never ever do it again, that they was manipulating through the food. And God showed me this in a dream. It was like through the food, he was manipulating. So I say all that to say, he would always come with this little homemade eggnog, especially during the winter time, and make no mistake, his eggnog was good, but that was the deceiving part of it, just like that apple in Snow White. But he would come with his Puerto Rican food, and then, because my spouse really loved the Puerto Rican food, and so on and so on. And I say all that to say that, again, he was manipulating through the food. He would come with cakes and stuff, because he was a former chef, but they knew what they was doing. So I say all that to say, it would never be done again. But anyway, that's just lessons that I had to learn. And, I don't even know if he knows about it to this day. I don't even know if God had revealed it to him, but I know he definitely revealed it to me. But I say all that to say, it was just stuff along the way. Like, my husband would always go out there like at maybe 4 a.m. anytime it snows, and he'd start shoveling the sidewalk so that way the snow wouldn't build up. He was always on top of that stuff. But then he would always end up shoveling like their sidewalk. And I was like, stop shoveling their sidewalk. Not that I wanted to tell him what to do, but just because I started to see, his manipulation, and just how they always just take. So it got to the point I started getting upset with him, because he would do it. And then there was a point in time that he stopped kind of doing it, or whatever the case may be, and they had to do their own. But then it was always of, when he saw that my husband wasn't shoveling his sidewalk, then all of a sudden he'd come outside and try to have like a little conversation, and come with some eggnog yet again. So he's sitting in the house watching. So I say all that to say, that's just the little tactics and little things that they had been doing along the way, just, to in order to manipulate. But anyway, just bringing it forward, it was just a situation of, I'm not sure whether, those are just little things that we have been dealing with, on top of the fact where, every time he was doing something in his backyard, somehow outside of the back gate, he would leave his trash and debris. And I was just like, wait a minute. I was like, I'm having a problem with that, because I was like, now that's somewhere on my side of the property, because it, came a little on my side of the fence, but it was outside the back gate. It wasn't inside my back gate, but it don't matter, because it's outside of my back gate. So it got to the point, like 2 years ago, I said something to him. Well, guess what? By this time, my husband was already gone. So I had to say something to him, because the homeowners associations had said something. I was like, hell no. I said, I'm not cleaning that up. I was like, because first of all, I didn't put it there. I said, that's all his shit from next door, his bricks and all that other stuff. So rather than him disposing it where he was supposed to dispose of it, or keep it in his backyard, he was just they was just very selfish people. But anyway, I say all that to say, it was just to the point that when the homeowners association sent out a letter stating that, you can't have anything sitting outside your backyard, and so on and so on, I basically went to him and I told him, I said, I'm sure you saw that the homeowner associations had sent out a letter stating about that debris outside the back gate. I told him in so many words, I said, I'm not cleaning any of that up because I said that's all your stuff. That's all your stuff from when you was moving stuff on the inside of the house and you buried it, or you let grass and stuff grow over it to the point it looked like a little hill back there, but it was debris and stuff sitting back there. So they cleaned it up, you know, eventually they cleaned it up, and his wife put like a little garden outside the door, whatever the case may be. But just really inconsiderate of other people, you know, on the left of them as well as the people to the right of them. But again, they was coming and cloaking it as, oh, I'm bringing you food. Oh, I'm bringing you this. I'm bringing you that, you know, but their hearts weren't pure. And let me just say that. That's what I'm hearing Spirit say. Their hearts weren't pure in the midst of, you know, doing it. It was always, what could I do? What can I get from this? But anyway, fast forwarding. For some of you guys that don't know that, I've showed you the video where I had to put up the little trash bag, and I had to buy like a little privacy sign that says basically private property, and I faced it towards their house or whatever to basically let them know, stay off my property. And this is me doing this physically, in other words, and I showed you the video. But I say all that to say, you know, it was to the point that me and my daughter would leave out of here something like early in the morning sometimes, and to the point that it's dark out. So I say all that to say, she would position her blinds to the point, like, blinds are usually like this. She would tilt it up like she can see us when we come out the door, because I have these bay windows, you know, the bay windows protrude outward, so you can really see, you know, like when we kind of walk out of our door, depending on if she has that one particular, which is this window right here. So her window on that side, I could see if the neighbors walk out their door. That's why I have it closed, so they're not looking over here inside my house, because I don't care to know what they're doing, to be honest with you. I mind my business. But with all that being said, she started doing that too frequently. She started positioning her blinds to where she could see us when we come, when we go. I was like, what is this? I was like, this is some old stocking type stuff. You know, I was like, it wasn't cool. Then I started seeing, like, when we come back from our walk, she was starting to make it a point of, when she saw us, she was looking at her watch. Like, she wanted to see what time it was, because she wanted to make sure she knew that we was coming back around about that same time. So I got to the point that I had to tell my daughter, let's switch up the time, you know, and make sure we're not coming back at that time, or whatever the case may be. So that's just little stuff that we had to do. And it's a shame that you had to do that. But it was just getting crazy. And it was almost like it was just getting intense. And this was happening like since maybe like, because I want to say like in June. No, I'm sorry. Maybe April is when she really started coming out the house even more, since 2020, should I say. Since 2020, because I didn't really see her too much. And it's like she came out, and then it's like she came out almost like with a vengeance. Whatever her vengeance was, I don't know. But it's almost like what she was doing behind closed doors, like she could no longer do, in a sense. Like, it was almost like God was forcing her outside the door, which I've been noticing that too with a lot of people. People who look like they just sit around, is like God was forcing them out outside. But anyway, so with all that being said, and bringing it fast forward, on Thursday, there was an incident that happened. I told you guys these energies were picking up. It is going to be a situation that's out of your control. Remember when I told you about the walking my dog, and it was like a force that was like pulling or tugging at you, in a sense, and it's so strong to the point that you wasn't going to be able to control it. Well, that morning when we walked out the door, her daughter also walked out I'm sorry, let me back it up, because this is what started it all. The day before, which was Wednesday, my son was outside. He was practicing, he was just doing like little drills with his basketball, you know, his jittery ladder, whatever you call that thing they use for basketball, you know, the little ladder that they go in and out, and so on and so on. So when I told you guys that I had that dream the day before, when I said that I jumped over the fence, should I say, that actually was not me seeing it from that sense. I was seeing it from my son's eyes, because he was outside kind of doing all that the next day, should I say, after I had that dream. And she, on the other hand, you know, it was like the curtains, you know how you have a set of curtains and you kind of pull them back to look, and then all of a sudden when somebody's looking, you hurp and pull them back or whatever, because that's what happened when he jumped over the fence. It's almost like I saw the curtains moving, like she was sitting in her house and watching. So on Wednesday, it all played itself out. So I guess that was the energy we was dealing with at the time, because he was outside on Wednesday. He decided to go out there. He was doing his little drills and so on, you know, on the sidewalk. And need I remind you, I think I had just gotten out of the shower, and it was like Spirit was just, thank you, Spirit. And spirit was just leading me to the window, like having me to go to the window for whatever reason. I don't know. I went to the window, I looked out the window, and then I saw her walking past, but she was in the road walking towards the mailbox, because anytime she's going that way, she's usually going to the mailbox. And I say all that to say that she doesn't really have a reason to go in that direction unless her vehicle is parked over there in the extra parking. But that doesn't happen that often. But anyway, so I saw her, because at first I thought it was somebody else. And I was like, oh, I said that was her. So she was walking in the road. I ain't tripped. I ain't had no problem. She was in the road. And then next thing you know, spirit just say, stand here and just watch. So it was almost like purposely the alignments of the planets, because I know we're going through a shift right now, and the alignments of the planets and all of the energies and whatever's going on in my natal chart, it all lined itself up. Let me just say that, for me to be triggered. So I stood there at the window to see which way she was going to come when she came back, if she was going to walk out in the road, like, you know, because that's what I do. I walk in between my cars and I walk out in the road, because sometimes I don't want to walk on the sidewalk. But anyway, I know I can't control anything outside myself, and I get that. But anyway, so when she was coming back, this time she was on the sidewalk. Well, he was facing the house. So in other words, the sidewalk is this way. He was focused on here, because he does that a lot. You know, it's like, you know, focus, you know, just so focused. And I'd be telling him that sometimes, you know, you got to make sure you pay attention to your surroundings as well too. But anyway, he be so focused sometimes that she was coming up the sidewalk and she saw him still there on the sidewalk. So instead of her, I guess, either stepping off the sidewalk and, you know, going into the road the same direction she went in the first time, she chose to walk on the sidewalk. And I get it. I can't control anything outside of her, or outside of myself, excuse me. So when I tell you that I really became triggered, because as she was coming up the sidewalk, again, he wasn't looking, but she was coming and she saw him standing there. So it's like, I really got the feeling that spirit was telling me she was just doing this purposefully. And when I tell you that she was really close to him, she was really close to him. So I'm upstairs looking out the window, just watching to see how she was going to handle the situation. And I know how energy works. So her energetic field was just too close to his. So one, that was a problem for me. I didn't want her trying to intertwine her energy field with his energy field, should I say. Kind of shifting his energy in a sense, because that's what happens. As I told you guys before, if you're hanging around somebody who's thinking, let's just say hypothetically, you're sitting next to somebody who are thinking maybe sexual thoughts or whatever, and you're sitting next to them, well, and if you're an empath, you know, you're also picking up on that. So just little examples like that, in other words. So if because remember when I said in the dream before, she was out the curtain, it's kind of like, it's a scoff, like, you know, so that was just letting me know. It's almost like I wanted to make sure she wasn't trying to. She's very clever. Let me just say that she's that sly fox that I've always keep telling y'all that I see. She's very slick and clever with what she does. You know, just slick and sly, like the wolf in sheep clothing is what I'm hearing. So you got to be mindful of that. The people that's coming like that nowadays, because I see these people go to church like they go to church on Saturday. They go to church every Saturday. I don't know if that's Catholic church. I don't know. But they go to church every Saturday. But for the behavior to be acting the way that it does, it's just like, wow. It's just like these are the people that are in the church for so long that it's like they're no earthly good in a sense, because they don't grow. They don't grow. You know, they're stuck in their ways, should I say. But I say all that to say, she walked past him. This was him. And she was literally almost like this close to him. I was like, what the? I was like, are you kidding me? I got so upset to the point that I knocked on the window to let her know that I see her, you know, because again, she knows what she does. And I know people probably looking at me like, how you know what she does? Because I just do. Trust me, I do. And I'm not saying that from a standpoint of being cocky, being arrogant, and coming from my ego. I just do. When you have that connection with God, it's almost like God is just showing you every little detail, you know. But anyway, so I knocked on the window and she looked and she thought I was knocking on the downstairs window, but I was really knocking on the upstairs window. So I was really pissed off. I was upset the whole day. And I was just to the point, I was like, that bitch. I was like, I was like, she would go to that extent to really, let me just say, that's just how upset I was, you know, and I was upset. So nevertheless, the next day, I walked out the house. So all of these chain of events, I'm letting you know, guys know this. All of these chain of events were meant to happen. And let me explain to you why in a minute. The next morning when we got up to walk, we actually ended up walking just a little later than what we normally do, because I just felt compelled. I was like, I just wanted to lay there for a minute. So it was almost like spirit was kind of lining this up. Like, if you think about movies when, like, let me just say, what is that? The movies with Tom Hanks in it. What is it called? Not the movies that he does on those conspiracy theories, like when people are at the same place at the right time, that it was part of destiny, it was meant to happen, should I say. So let me just say, as we got ready to go out the door, her daughter was coming out the door also. It was still a little dark outside, but it was a little light. So I noticed the light was on. And it just so happened, like, because, when you walk up to their door, they have, I guess something happened to their screen door some time ago that somebody shattered it or something like that. And no, it was not me. I don't do stuff like that. But anyway, so something happened to their screen door. I truly believe it's illegal activity that was going on. Somebody probably followed them home, because I noticed he put a padlock on his back gate, because I have a patio out back and they don't. So I can see down into their, fence or whatever, or into their yard, should I say. So, and the neighbor to the other side of me, she doesn't have a patio either. So there's only like really 3 patios that's on this line of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 rows of houses that are kind of connected to each other. There's only 3 patios. So I can see down into their backyard, so he put this padlock on the back of his gate, whatever. I was like, well, you think you got enough security? Because he done put a bright ass light out back that, even if a squirrel passes it at night, the light's gonna come on, to the point I was like, that's not enough security, to the point that he put a padlock on his back gate, which that part I understand, because, whatever the case may be. But yeah, so he put a padlock on the back of his gate, because I could see that from my patio. But anyway, not only that, but they also just recently got the sling, I guess, out front and out back or whatever. Well, sling, I think it's the security camera, like the little doorbell thing that's kind of almost like the Ring or whatever. So I saw somebody leaving their house, I guess, because they was installing that. I was like, well, good Lord, how much security do you need? So that was just letting me know, if you got to pump up that much security, obviously, I think that's a little bit of, I don't know. Like I said, I saw their screen door shattered one day. So what that was about, I don't know. I thought maybe it's some sort of legal activity, because I know a couple of guys that he was hanging out with one point. I was just like, they look a little rough around the edges. But anywho, that ain't none of my business. But as they say in Living Single, what is this to say? I'm beneath or something. And you ain't heard it from me, because I ain't the one to gossip. But anyway, so with all that being said, just classic example, y'all. I just wanted to make y'all laugh for a second. But anyway, but to go back to it. So when I woke up that morning, we was leaving out the door, and I saw her daughter walk out the house, and I think she's like about 17 or something like that. And the first thing went to my mind, it was reminding me about yesterday. And I was like, I said, yeah. And I said to myself, and I said it out loud or whatever, I said it out loud because, I wasn't yelling it out loud, but I was having a conversation with my daughter. I was like, yeah, I said, now if I was to, be all up in her daughter's space like that, she would have a problem. As her daughter was walking out the door, I said, and I was just like, what'd I say? Something about she better, what did I say? Something about she wouldn't want me to be all up in, something about if I violated her daughter's space or whatever the case may be, she would have a problem with that, but she felt the need to try to violate my son's space is what I said. And the daughter kind of looked back or whatever, and, and with her looking back, I figured she was going to say something to her mom. So it's almost kind of like I kind of wanted her, to hear in so many words. Like I said, everything was just perfectly aligned at that moment. Let me just say that. One may look at it as being like ungrounded, unbalanced, or whatever the case may be. But that's that Taurus in my natal chart, that, Taurus moon anyway, like, with these energies that are here, again, everything's perfectly aligned. The planets, everything. So in other words, love and light went out the window for a second, because now it's like you effing with my kids, should I say, or my son, because it wasn't involving my daughter, but it was my son, and I had a problem with that. Taurus is all about family. And I say all that to say to go ahead and try to wrap it up some. Here was the kicker. So when we came back from our walk, it just so happened I saw her vehicle turn in on the street. And it's almost like something inside of me just pushed me forward. You know, that's why I was saying, you know, if we don't deal with unhealed issues, you know, because I know all of that stuff had just been kind of festering. And I know a couple of times she had tried to speak to me and I didn't want to speak to her. I didn't want to speak to her because God already saw and revealed to me what she was doing behind closed doors. But then yet she wanted to be like, hi, you know, and perfect, like everything was okay. And I'm like, no, it's not okay, you know, because I see you and I have an issue with that. But I didn't even want to give her my day, my time, nor my energy. So I didn't even bother to say anything to her. So yes, for someone else, it may look as if I was keeping something underneath the surface. Not to me, I wasn't. I just didn't want to give her my energy, period. You know, at all. So it's like she was doing things to get my attention. And I wasn't going to even give her my attention nor my time because I felt like she had violated my space. She violated my son's space. She crossed boundaries that I felt like that, you know, that I felt the need to keep myself and my kids protected, in other words. So if I have to keep my distance, I was willing to do so. But anyway, with all that being said, so I saw her car coming in, pulling into the street as we were coming back home, crossing over the street to come back home. And then it's almost like something just jolted me forward and I started walking fast. And my daughter was like, yeah, I noticed that you started walking fast too. It's like almost like Spirit had just showed up and it was like, okay, we're going to deal with this shit today. We're going to deal with it today. So normally I would walk out in the street if I see her outside and walk in between my cars and walk in between the two cars or whatever of ours. And this time I just chose to walk on the sidewalk. So it's kind of like she walked over to her water hose to get ready to turn her water hose on to water her plants real quick. And it's like she looked in my direction. She saw me coming. And then as I got closer, I had said to her, I told her, I said, I don't appreciate you doing witchcraft or whatever. She was like, excuse me? And I was like, yeah, I said, I don't appreciate you doing witchcraft around my family or whatever the case may be. And then I had told her, I said, after I told her that part, I basically told her, I said, I don't appreciate the fact also that, you know, yesterday you sat there and you what did I tell her? That you got that close to my son. I said, I have a problem with that because I said, you know, good time well, if I would have got close to your daughter with like that, you would have had a problem. So when I started that conversation off, actually, it was the opposite way around. I started off with my son first, and then I started talking about the witchcraft. So the moment I started talking about the witchcraft, this was her facial expression. So she went to like everything I was saying, she was just like taking it in and looking at me like that. So we basically sitting there staring into each other's eyes or whatever the case may be. And I was just saying to myself at the same time, I just said everything that I needed to say. And I told her, I said, I don't appreciate you doing witchcraft behind closed doors. I told her, I said, you need to stop doing witchcraft behind closed doors is what I said, to be honest with you. And then I told her about my son's situation or whatever. Anyway, so it was all of that. And then I told her, I said, you have been doing so much stuff for a very long time, sitting there watching me and my daughter come and watching us go. You know, it's been this, it's been that. And I said, I'm so sick and tired of it. I said, leave me and my fucking family alone. We don't fuck with your family, so don't go fucking with mine, is what I told her. That's just how tense it had gotten. I didn't get up in her face. I wasn't all like this. I just basically told her, leave me and my family the F alone, okay? And then she was just like, I said, do you understand? Because she has this habit of, you know, how some people of other races try to say that they don't speak English or whatever the case may be, or I don't speak good English. And I said it to say because she's told me that before in the past, like her English isn't that good. But on the other hand, I hear her outside a couple of months ago chirping away like a bird with one of the people who stayed way down the street who she was walking with one time, just chirping away, talking about everything, well, in the front yard as well as the backyard, talking about what it is that she wanted to do with her little garden. I was like, oh, wow. She sat there and used to sit there and try to make it seem like, you know, it's always a nice convenient excuse. Oh, me don't speak no English or whatever, or my English isn't that good. But yeah, I heard her speaking perfect English. And I'm not throwing any judgment towards her. I'm just telling you, that's just how God was just revealing stuff to me. Like, oh, didn't she say her English wasn't that good? But yet she's speaking very perfectly here. So anyway, with all that being said, so after that, and I told her, basically that was just pretty much it. So after that, I went into my house, and I was just like, it almost felt like a relief, because all of that was just sitting there for so long, just all the stuff that she had done, her mother had done, her daughter was doing, or whatever the case may be, just, just all the stuff that they had been doing, for years or whatever. So lo and behold, 5 hours later now, and my kids brought this to my attention. They was like, wow, she called the cops on you 5 hours later. She really felt that threat, and she would have called us soon. And need I remind you, when I said something to her that morning, it was like around about 6:45 when we came back in, when I said something to her. 6:45. It was light outside. It wasn't dark or whatever the case may be. But on the same hand, she waited 5 hours later. So it just so happened that me and the kids were kind of cleaning that day or whatever. And it just so happened, I think I walked into my son's room, and then I noticed 2 cop cars were sitting outside, but they were sitting all across the street in the parking lot. And I was like, I was like, the cops are here? I was like, because at first I thought, I was like, well, okay, well, maybe she must have called the cops or whatever. And I didn't become afraid, and I'm not sitting here boasting or bragging about that, but I just knew that I had not done anything wrong, but other than what I was supposed to do. So I say all that to say, and then I got in my, I felt like deep down in my spirit, it was like, well, I felt like my guides was just telling me basically she called the cops or whatever the case may be. And I was like, Lord, I was like, I don't need nothing else to throw a damper in my day, or it was more so my schedule that I was worried about. It wasn't throwing a damper in my day. I was like, my schedule. I just wanted to keep my schedule. And most people are like, I just don't want the cops knocking at my door at all. But anyway, but with that being said, I say all that to say that I just wanted to keep my schedule. So at this point, I was in the kitchen. After I had already saw the cops, from the window or whatever, I was like, Lord, because it was like in my spirit, and Lord, it was like, it was ramping up in my spirit, like, yeah, she called the cops on you. She called the cops on you. And I was like, okay. I said, I accept whatever it is, Lord. I acknowledge, I accept, and I release it. I said, if the cops are going to come, please allow them to come sooner rather than later, because I wanted to get into the tub and I didn't want that to interfere with my time. So lo and behold, after I had said that, I lied to you not, probably like 2 minutes later, I got a knock at the door. I was like, whew, at least they came early rather than later. So when they came, or whatever the case may be, it was a lady and a man, and she knocked on the door. I opened up the door, and I kind of had like this smirk on my face, like, I was like, yep. And she said, hi, I'm here, because your neighbor called. She said, I assume that you probably know why I'm here or whatever, because the neighbor called or whatever. And I was like, yep. And then she was like, well, what did she say? She said something about, I said, yeah. I said, I had a conversation with her this morning. I said, I didn't get in her face. I didn't, touch her or anything of that nature. Not that she said I did, but I told her, I said, I just said what I needed to say to her, because this woman had been doing so much stuff behind closed doors. And then yesterday it was the icing on the cake, because she gotten so close to my son. Whatever happened to social distance? That's not 6 feet apart. You knew, you saw him sitting there. You're a grown behind woman. Why would you walk that close up on him? And I explained to her, but I told her, I said, now if I was to have done that to her daughter, would she have appreciated? She would feel the same exact way that I felt. So that was me expressing my true, authentic feelings. And I say all that to say that, and I told the lady, I said, I had a problem with that. I said, she had been doing so, and then her son and his girlfriend was standing in between the doorway, just kind of listening. I said, see, little stuff like that. Don't nobody got time for all that. And she was like, well, we can just wait till he leave, and then we can finish having a conversation. Because I said, it's just little stuff like that they just been kind of doing, just kind of listening and just coming outside when they see us come outside. And again, I'm not trying to control anybody, but it's just the fact that there are some things that are coincidental, but certain things, it's just like, really. But anyway, like, again, it's the being traumatized by her timing, watching her watch appearing every day around about the same time that we was coming back from our walks or whatever, just stuff like that, and I was explaining to her or telling her that, just lifting her blinds up, and, again, I can't control what she do inside her house. I said, but you see the trash bag that's sitting right here as well as the private property. She said, yeah, I had noticed that. I said, it's stuff like that, trying to keep her from watching me and my daughter, because she would only position it just a little bit to see, like, like you could literally see like when maybe the legs or the ankles come walking out the door, whatever the case may be. And I told her, I said, it's just to the point like stuff like that. I had to protect me and my daughter so she couldn't really see when we was coming or going, you know, because she positioned her blinds and, you know, she doing this and she doing that. And then yesterday she felt the need to walk so close to my son. I said I had a problem with that. I had just had enough. She had been doing witchcraft behind closed doors. You know, it's just been so much stuff that had been going on, and I was just fed up with it. I was fed up with it. I needed to say something to her, and I told her, you know, my intentions were to have a conversation with her husband because I figured he would listen a little bit more rather than her, just because I just got a feeling that she would have. She's just one of those females that need somebody to run in, protect her, and to speak for her. I've dealt with females like that before, and to me, I hate to say it, but it's coward-like behavior. So I am one woman, you are a woman or a female. I'm gonna say female because a woman steps up to the plate and handle her business or whatever the case may be, and that doesn't mean that I am trying to overpower her in any sort of way. I just felt like if we're two women having a conversation, or at least I felt like if another woman can have a conversation with me, because even at the moment that I said something to her outside, she could have very well said what she needed to say rather than call the cops. You know, if she wanted to know how I knew that she was doing witchcraft, that could have been something that she said right then and there. Instead, she waited till the cops get here and then asked me, you know, when I told the cops, even with her standing outside, about her doing witchcraft. And she was like, please tell me how do I do witchcraft? And I was like, well, why didn't you ask me that this morning? Why do you wait till the cops get here to ask me that? So at that moment, Spirit was like, shh, don't even tell her, because it was like, don't even give her the satisfaction of letting her know how you knew that she was doing witchcraft. So it was just let her keep guessing. But anyway, so and then she, just to speed it up, she felt the need. Then so I basically told the cops, I said, other than that, I said she had done so much stuff and I hadn't even really said anything up until now, until the icing on the cake, when, you know, she got so close to my son yesterday. That was a problem for me, you know. And then she went back next door to say something to her, and she said, well, okay, well, I'll go ahead and tell her this. And then a guy standing behind her was saying, well, you know, you can't tell her not to talk to you. And I said, well, first of all, what is he talking about? I never said anything about, because the lady officer said, well, maybe you guys shouldn't speak to each other. I said, well, first of all, I never really spoke to her up until now. I said I have been keeping my time, my energy, and my attention on myself and not giving it to her. And I think that's part of the reason why she's acting out, because I don't give her my time and attention anymore, or feed into her drama, should I say, or feel sorry for her at that. And, you know, then he was saying, well, you can't. And honestly, he really shouldn't even be a cop, to be honest with you, because I could see that he had his own emotional issues that he needed to deal with. And I say all that to say, people like him on the force, you know, they really should be doing, I don't know if they do psychological tests or even anxiety tests on certain people, or just testing their levels. But yeah, it just let me know that he had something going on. So he opened up his mouth and said something about, well, you know, you can't tell her not to say anything to you. I said, well, first of all, I never said anything about telling her not to say anything to me. Your fellow officer said that in so many words, is what I was thinking to myself. So when he said that, and I told him, I said, well, yeah, just as well as, you know, I can't tell her not to talk to me, you know, I told him basically, you know, that goes vice versa, right? And then I said, and I told him, I said, I know I can't control the fact of her not saying anything to me, just like she can't control the fact of me not saying anything to her. I can't control anything outside of myself, just like she can't control anything outside of herself. And basically that shut him up, should I say, because he didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. I'm sorry. He looked like he really didn't want to be there. But anyway, the lady, thank God, she was handling it calm or cool, collect. So she went back next door to tell her, yeah, you know, well, maybe, you know, you shouldn't just say anything to her, and she's not going to say anything to you. And I said, and I was just listening because I wanted to make sure she was telling her everything that I just said, because I was going to correct her when she was wrong. But anyway, so with all that being said, and then I told the officer before she went next door to say something to her, she was standing between her doorway, and I told her, I said, yeah, I'll stand right here because I have nothing at all to hide. I'll tell you exactly what I said in front of her while you guys are here and while you deliver the message to her. In other words, letting her know that I don't need to run and hide. So she came out the door as the officer was talking to her. She was like, well, officer, well, let me, you know, and so in in so many words. She was trying to come out the door and show the officer. And this is what she said. This was the kicker. She came out the door and she said, "Officer, this is what the boy," she said, "the boy." I was like, what? And it made me think back to the trash sitting on the sidewalk. You know, that was her way of trying to be rude and disrespectful yet again. She said, "The boy was right here." I said, "First of all, his name is such and such." And I said, "You will refer to him as such." And then what I really thought about the fact, after the fact, I said I really wanted to tell her, you know, when she said boy, and I wanted to say his name is such and such, and it means he who is like God. And but anyway, so I left that part out, but Spirit brought that to my attention, like after all that was over with. I was like, oh, that would have been a good comeback. But anyway, so with all that being said, she came outside and tried to demonstrate to the lady officer, and she was like, "He was right here, and I walked like this around him because he was on the sidewalk." I said, "Yeah, but when you went to the mailbox, you was walking in the street. Why didn't you walk in the street on the way coming back? So you saw him standing there, you knew he was facing this way." And then she was like, "Is there something wrong with that?" And then she said, "Well, there, you know, that's not being 6 feet apart," or something like that, she told her. So I guess that really kind of hit her in her ego in a sense when the lady was telling her that about being 6 feet apart. Not that you need an officer to tell you that, to be honest with you. I mean, come on. I mean, really. But anyway, so with all that being said, at that point in time, my daughter had called my name, and I was just like, I'm done. I'm ready to go. Like, you know, I could see that she really got into her ego when the cops arrived. But this morning, it was just like, and I was like, I didn't want her to respond like that. My intentions were not to put my hands on her or to belittle her in any sort of way or to talk down on her. I just basically was expressing to her what was there for so long, and I just had enough of it, especially when she was that close to my son. You know, so I say all that to say the cops end up leaving, and, you know, they didn't even bother to ask me any information. I had just already came to the door. And, oh, I will say this, you know, she did tell them that I guess we were friends. And I was like, I wouldn't really consider it friends. You know, I would have considered it associates because we were neighbors, should I say. It's not like we hung out together and did all that other stuff. And I just told them basically, I said, yeah, at one point in time, I said, we've done so much for these people. You know, like when her dad had passed away, you know, it was to the point that I went to TGI Friday because they was running a special, you know, because they had some family members over there at the time. And, you know, I came and bought them food, you know, salad, food that lasted them at least about 3 days. You know how most people doing funerals, they bring people food so they don't have to cook. They can mourn their loved ones, just stuff like that, you know. And then I even went out of my way to fix an additional meal even after those 3 days of that meal as an extra, you know, food. But, you know, that was just a situation that God was just letting me know that they was just taking advantage of it, you know. So I say all that to say it was thank you, you know, we really appreciate it. But, and I just say that because Spirit is just letting me know that their intentions weren't pure, because it was a matter of what can I get out of the situation. In other words, they had just been manipulating through food. And I say food because it was food, and on top of the fact of food that they would try to bring over here at times or whatever, you know, just on top of the fact of, and Spirit is just showing me sometimes the face that the husband would try to make, in a sense, to kind of make somebody feel sorry for him. So just be mindful of those type of people, the wolf coming in sheep clothing, the people who are in church for, you know, committed to going to church, you know, because there was a point in time that I was always feeling the need to go to church or whatever. Then there came a point in time that I just kind of disassociated myself away from the church, should I say, and just started self-teaching myself, because I realized there was an incident when I was in church that I realized that, you know, it's all about people in positions in these churches, and people feel like when they get in these different positions in authority, like it starts to become about money. You paying your tithes and offering? Tithes and offering. Are you paying your tithes and offerings? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? You know, when somebody comes to you in regards to, because what it was at the time I wanted to dedicate my son back to God or whatever the case may be. So I say all that to say I wanted him to kind of like get baptized or whatever, because, you know, my oldest son did, and I did with my daughter when she was like 4 months old or whatever the case may be. And I wanted to do the same with my son. But then I realized once I started to get on this path, at some point in time, my mindset was just like, oh my God, like my son is not saved. But I realized my son is saved now that I have embraced spirituality and not so much be adapted to the Christianity mindset, or, you know, and all that other stuff to just, you know, anyway. So I won't get into details, but it was a matter of, you know, my husband wasn't there at that time when I went to church that day, and the pastor's wife was willing to dedicate him real quick, like after the church service was over with, but he wasn't there. So, you know, out of respect to him, I wanted him to be there in the process. So I asked her if we could do it another day. So she said, get in contact with such and such in the office. And it just so happened that the people who had actually counseled myself as well as my husband prior to marriage or whatever, it was a couple. They both had counseled us. Well, they had ended up leaving the church. So this is around about the time that they had left the church. But had he still been there, he would have been the one that I needed to schedule that appointment with. But somebody else had stepped into his position, and then I never got a phone call back. Never. And the first thing I thought to myself and came to my mind is, they checking to see whether you pay tithes and offers. And I say this to say, because there are times that when we would go to church and my husband would sit there and say stuff like, well, why do you got to put your name on the envelope saying who the money came from? Just put it in the envelope. Because there would be times that I would write it out. And then there would be times that he would say, why do you need to put your name on it? It's almost like, I guess for him, it was almost like saying, hey, yeah, I paid my tithes and offers. You receive money. Who does it matter that you're receiving it from, that you're receiving it? Because I guess for him, in his mind, it was like, why do you need to keep track of who's giving you money? So he had that part right in his thinking, should I say, you know. But anyway, so with all that being said, Spirit was just letting me know, and it confirmed through another member who used to stay, not where we're staying at now, but prior to us moving here, when we stayed in this high-rise building in Springfield. Another member who stayed in the same area that we stayed in, she basically had said, I explained to her, because she asked me, do I still go to church? And I said, no. And she was like, yeah, she said that. And I kind of I explained to her why. And she said, yeah, I can see that happening, because she was singing on the church choir. And her and I had a couple of conversations prior to, you know, prior to the situation, meaning like we knew that we stayed in the same area and went to the same church. But she explained, and I was like, okay. So she just confirmed. So I said, okay, at that point in time, that's when I chose to really walk away from the church, should I say, because I said that it's not about what you paying, it's about what you can give. I don't even care, even if, let's just say hypothetically, even if I put some lint in a plate, which that wasn't the case, but, you know, thinking about the times that we had paid them tithes and paid them offerings, or just giving in general. When somebody comes to you, you know, you should just be able to guide them, period, in general. You know, it shouldn't be about $1. But anyway, with that being said, let me wrap this up. So with all that being said, that has been my experience, and this happened on Thursday, should I say. So I just want to let you guys know that this is me speaking my truth, giving my testimony, and it's just me being real, raw, and authentic about it. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth, but the truth of the matter is, either you deal with the truth or the truth is going to search you out. So it wasn't a matter that I was trying to hide the truth. It's just that the planetaries lined up. This moon is here. Is it new moon or full moon? One of the two. Anyway, so was it the moon in Leo that gives you the courage? It wasn't the fact that I didn't have courage. Again, it's the planetary alignment that plays the part in whatever you have individually in your natal chart. So I say all that to say everything lined up. It was meant to happen. And the funny thing about it is, let me tell you real quick, when I did some cards yesterday, this was the card that actually came out. I'm gonna just say this real quick, and then I'm gonna shuffle some cards for you. But God was just letting me know that, you know, it's not about being right. It's not about being wrong, but it's just a matter of you standing in your truth and speaking your truth. So I don't want to sit here and say that I was right or saying that I was wrong about anything. It's just a matter of me speaking what I needed to speak. So keep that in mind too, because I know some of you are needing to speak about certain things, whatever it may be in your life. Oh, where is it at? So maybe this can give you some comforting. Oh shit, where is it? Acknowledging my desires and Was it this one? Okay, y'all. Nope. Oh, this was one. It was talking about letting go of being right. Oh, and the other one I think was letting go of being fear. Hold on, y'all. Bear with me. Oh, here it is. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay. It was 4 of them. I can't find the other one. But anyway, the first one had said, today I will acknowledge that acknowledging feelings and beliefs are all mine, and they're just as valued as anyone else's. I am open to learning from others and their experiences, but I will stand firm in my own truth. And then the other one was letting go of being right. Today I will realize that being myself, letting others be themselves, is far more important than being right. Value and worth are not dependent on being right, and I'm striving for love in my relationships, not superiority. I won't hide behind being right, but I will just let myself be who I am, and that's who I was being. It wasn't about being right. She had her own personal opinion, and just as well as I had my own. And this one was acknowledging my desires. Today I will release the beliefs that my needs are never met. I will acknowledge my desires, then turn them over to my higher power. My wants and needs are not an accident. God created them when he created me. So I felt the need as a parent. There was one more, but I can't remember where it's at. I felt the need as a parent to, do what I had to do. So again, if you feel like you need to speak your truth, as long as you're not hurt, harming, or injuring, or putting your hands on someone, then, I tried in the most humbling way that I could, should I say. I wasn't yelling, but I was cussing, should I say. And I felt like, I don't know, I just kind of felt like Spirit was just telling me if I came at her with a calm, cool, and collect voice, she was going to dismiss that. She wasn't going to hear it. So the way that I came at her was the way that she needed to hear it. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but, that's just how it is for some people. So anyway, let me shuffle a couple cards, y'all, and let me hurry up and try to end this. Thank you, Divine Spirit of Light. Oh, I will tell you that I did tell her this as well, too. I did tell her because I'm not sure whether her behavior has been displaying one outside of her character. And Spirit was just really having me to write down the other day, like just all these different things. And it's like Spirit was just kind of revealing to me, like, okay, she feel like her life is falling apart in a sense. And her life, it seemed like it's falling apart because one, with this whole 19 thing, she's not working how she was working before. Hell, neither am I. Nobody pretty much is anymore. There's some who are and there's some who aren't. But I say all that to say that it's almost like, let me give you an example. It's almost like she's scrambling. She's scrambling because she doesn't know what to do. She's scrambling, but again, that's not my problem. And I'm not going to take on her problem. I'm going to say that to say, because guess what? When my spouse left out the door, I didn't know how I was going to do this, or I didn't know how I was going to do that. But thank God, I just trusted God, and God worked everything out. And I say all that to say that, she has her spouse over there with her. So the two of them should be collaborating that together. But with all that being said, she feels like her life is falling apart for whatever reason. I don't exactly know, but like I said, when she was working, she was more so focused on work. She was about her family. She was about work. But now that she's not working, it's almost like I became her focused target. For what? I don't know. I was telling my daughter, I was like, God, I was like, did I do something to her in a past life or something? Please let me know and reveal to me and show me, because I don't understand. And God has not shown me anything just yet. But I will say this. Sometimes, as I explained to you guys before, that when I was working at the little child care center for the 4 months, when God was just like, okay, I'm gonna send you there just to let you get tired and let you know, just to not just be chasing money, but to trust me that I'm gonna provide for you. So I say all that to say that he sent me there to learn lessons. And once I got there, I didn't understand why I was there until God started to reveal to me and show to me like how these two individuals that was there at the time, they were, because one of the directors, there was a head director, there was a head director, and then her cousin worked, in one of the rooms next to mine, or whatever should I say. But anyway, I say all that to say that I didn't realize it was her cousin at first until her cousin actually told me it was her cousin. I said, oh, that explains why she shows her little favoritism. And I say all that to say that I realized God was showing me, like, in past lives, like how they were being bullies towards me, should I say. Like, they were bullying me in a sense, trying to bully me, should I say, for being an individual. And so it's kind of almost like that energy didn't show up when I was there at the center. So it was almost like what I'm getting is God was showing me that I needed to correct that energy that was happened in the past. So some of you guys, you don't understand and you don't know, but sometimes you guys are going through stuff right now because God wants you to correct the energy from a past life. As I explained before, our bodies are just bodies, and these are the bodies that we take on at this moment while we're here on earth. But in other lifetimes, we might have been a different shade, a different nationality, and thank you, Spirit. And we come in different vessels, but the only thing that doesn't change is our soul imprints, our soul memories of everything that we had experienced throughout life. And I don't expect you to believe what I believe. I'm just telling you this is my belief because this is what God had revealed to me. So I say all that to say that God had showed me my past life with those two individuals and how they were kind of like being bullies towards me. So in this lifetime, the 4 months that I was there, I was meant to speak my truth, stand up for myself, and basically take back my power in a sense. Thank you, Spirit. I was meant to take back my power from them that they had kind of stole from me. So if you find yourself going through certain situations with certain people, don't take offense to it, because God sees the bigger picture that you can't see and that you don't see. And he just basically wants you to take a piece of yourself, not even a piece of yourself. He wants you to take back all of yourself that you had given away to these individual people who have not served your soul purpose. So I say all that to say, because when I took the job, she was like, oh, I'm so glad that you're here and really want to have you. So it was just all a front, but I didn't go in there like, oh yeah, hey, like she really likes me. And I didn't go in there with that mindset, because at that point in time, I knew I had been through too much on my journey to even just let my guards down to just be trusting any and everybody. So I just trust what they were showing me. And as time went on, I started to see certain things. And when I tell you, for you guys who take your kids to these individual child care facilities, you guys should just do it. Make sure they got an open door policy where you can just pop up at any given time, because I just seen too much. And that's part of the reason why I need to work for my own self, because I've seen too many things where it's just, they look at the kids as just money, a dollar sign, on top of the fact of they overwork their staff members. I was not going to allow her to do, because I know she hired me on from 6:30 until 3 o'clock. And you best to believe that there were plenty of times that they got short staffed. And I told her, I said, it is 3 o'clock and I need to go. And I explained that to her before. 3 o'clock, I'm gone, period. And I say that to say, because when me and my mom did have our own daycare center, you know, that was licensed up to 99 kids or whatever the case may be. When we did have our own center, there was times when we were short staffed and we had to fill in for other teachers. So I say all that to say a good center would do just that, and not to just be trying to leave one teacher with all these different kids, which is a violation of the state. So I say all that to say that, you know, you'd be surprised how people are jucking and shiving these kids around, like when they're short staffed, should I say. But anyway, so just be mindful of that. And not only that, but follow your intuition as well too, because everything is not what it is on the surface level, because behind closed doors it's all about a dollar sign and not so much about the kids. For some people, I'm not saying that the staff don't really care, because there are some people who are sincere and really cared. You know, I was sad to leave the kids behind. As a matter of fact, I did let the parents know when I was about to go, and let them know, I let them know when I was about to go, because I didn't want them hearing it from them talking about, oh, why she left. So in other words, I set the stage and I chose my own destiny by letting them know that I was gonna leave. I left a little sooner than what I thought. I was gonna finish out until the 1st of August, but I ended up leaving on the 26th, I think it was, because I was like, no, I had enough. You will not disrespect me like that any longer. You know, everything that I had worked hard for to put in this classroom for these kids, you want to disrespect me and pull it down when I'm not here, all because I took a date off and you didn't like that? Just that petty type stuff. Who is that hurting? That's not hurting me, because now you're short one staff member, and not only that, but now the kids don't have somebody that's there for them. So yes, I had to prove a point to them, and I had to leave because I knew it was time to go. But anyway, with all that being said, so keep that in mind as well too. So things like that happen for us to heal and call and claim back our power that we may have had. See, some of you guys, what I'm hearing Spirit say, some of these guys, some of these people that you guys are dealing with, even the ones that you think that are probably your friends, you have some sort of connection to these people in some sort of way, especially if you, what I'm hearing Spirit say, especially if you're feeling obligated to them for some particular reason, like you feel like you can't break these bonds, or you feel like you can't, or you're feeling guilty about something. That's stuff that you have brought over from a previous life that needs to be corrected in this lifetime. So until you correct it, until you let go, until you realize that it's unhealthy, and why, and ask yourself, why am I holding on to this person? Why am I holding on to this person? You know, because like I said, anything that you're too attached to and you can't find yourself letting go of, that's an unhealthy type relationship. Especially if God has basically shown you certain things. And I know it can be hard even if God hasn't shown you, but you feel the need, if your soul is telling you to let something go, and that's the first thought that come to mind, but then you start reasoning with yourself like, oh no, I can't let them go. If I can't let them go, you know, maybe there's no coming back. Maybe we won't be friends again. Maybe you weren't meant to be friends, because again, there's something maybe that you need to fix from a previous life with this person, that they had some sort of control over you that needs to be fixed in this lifetime, which means letting go. Thank you, Spirit. What message do you have for the collective? What message do you have for the collective that is a pure white light? Power. I just said that. Power. I'm going to stop there because I'm not being told to take any more. So 16. I just said it. Taking your power back. Step into your true power. Shine brightly. Do not hide who and what you are. Thank you, Spirit, for showing up. The time is right to attract big things for yourself. Ancestral energy is important. Open your mind to large possibilities. Big magic can be wrought. Go outside on a clear night and look up. Hopefully you'll see the stars in a twinkle. If you are really lucky, you might see the swirling Milky Way spilling across the darkness. And then there is the big full moon, unmistakable in her glory and power. She moves to the earth in itself, stables it into orbit. She releases and pulls the sea. She is the object of devotion, the inspiration of poem, the realm of goddessness, and she has witnessed the very first of us rise up on the two legs and ventured her. Generations after generations, we have stood barefooted under the same moon, wishing, setting intentions, dancing, and drawing her grateful power. You are made of the very swirling matters that is the stuff of stars. You are pure, possible, changing, consistent, renewing, and transforming. Take this moment to recognize that power and rejoice in it. For the next step is to precursor to your future self. Boom. Take back that power, y'all. Take back that power. And I'm going to pull some cards real quick of letting go. Divine Spirit, what do you want the collective to let go of? So yes, on multiple situations, I had to reclaim back my power, with a lot of different people, family members, my spouse, whether it be my kids, whether it be my sister, whether it be, the neighbors, just other people, the people at the child care facility, other people along the way, people who have tried to take advantage of me. I've had to pull back my power. I had to claim back my power, should I say. And once God showed me that I was taking back my power is a way of retrieving lost pieces of my soul. In other words, every time we give our power away to people, that makes you smaller and smaller and smaller. And when you reclaim back your power, that makes you a whole individual, a whole and healthy individual at that. And no, it's not something that happens overnight. That's, you're having to work through that stuff. So, thank you, Spirit. What message do you have for the collective? What do you want them to know of what they need to let go of? What do the people listening to the channel, what do you want them to let go of? Sorry, that one's about to come out. One more is what I'm being told. What do you want the collective to know? What do you want the collective to know? Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so the first one was initiating friendships. Today I will pay attention to my behavior and actions as I form new friendships. I will notice who I am attracted to, and why. So in other words, ask yourself, why am I attracted to them? And not worry about whether the other person likes me or accepts me. If I make a mistake, it's okay. I learned something valuable from every interactions with another person. So that's a message for somebody. And then this next one came out was achieving clarity in my relationships. Wow. So it says, today I will remember that even the best friendships have low points. I explained that to you. If the low points is the norm in my current relationship, I may have to consider if I want to continue. And that's me saying I don't want to continue. That's why I said what I needed to say, and I stepped away, no longer gave her my time or my energy to her. If the low points is temporarily, I will practice understanding. I know that I will achieve clarity and make the right choice. So Spirit has spoken. And then this last one says, today I will focus on a peaceful pace, rather than a hurry one. I will keep moving forward gently, not frantically. I will let go of my needs to be anxious. And upset, and will replace these feelings with calmness and harmony. Focus on peace. So one thing about myself before I go, y'all, I've learned this years ago, and Divine Spirit of Light had me to, when we had our own daycare center, I had a lot of training back then, because God had got me to speak to my truth, because sometimes the kids, their behaviors could be a little out of control, should I say. And need I remind you, we were a private, center or whatever. So, we wasn't associated with a big name, but we had our own individual name in our own building. So I say all that to say that, God had told me a long time ago that, Sonia, speak up. And I said, and that was my 20s. So when I learned to speak up, because he kept giving me these situations that was allowing me to feel burden. And until I spoke up, I was going to continue to feel the burden. And this is a message for someone, because me saying that, I haven't spoke about that in a while anyway. So he kept allowing me to feel the burden situations until I learned to speak up. In other words, it was a situation of, there were times where you needed to tell the parents that, hey, your child was acting like this, or your child was doing that. But I was coming from a place of letting them know, but also letting them know that while they were here, I was going to redirect their behavior. But I also need you to do that at home as well too, because if not, then they're just going to think that they can do whatever. And if, as long as we're working together, things will work itself out, in other words. So I say all that to say, there were times that I used to have to tell parents, and I learned to address it, because in early childhood field, early childhood education, they would teach you to dress it up like a hamburger. You got the bun, you got the meat, and you try to put your positive on the top or whatever. So in other words, put your negative, which is the meat, in the middle or whatever, and start off on a positive note. Like, hey, such and such is a really good child, but, I also noticed that the meat part. I also noticed that, when they do certain things that, it kind of disrupt the classroom and so on and so on. And then you end on that positive note, but I really know that they really have it deep down inside to really that we can really reinforce their behavior in a sense. So I've definitely learned to do that over the years, or whatever the case may be, especially with early childhood training or whatever. But I say all that to say that God had just taken me through that training for me to learn to be honest with myself, and not only that, but really speak to these parents, to let these parents know that it was a way, because thank you, Spirit. Because if I was allowing the kids to just do whatever, and even when they was like in our care, or whatever the case may be, even with other teachers or whatever, doing what they were doing, well, trying to do for other teachers. Let me just say that I was like the disciplinary or whatever, because it was like, I was going to discipline you, not discipline you like put my hands on you, but I was also going to show you that love as well too. In other words, redirect your behavior. But it was coming from a loving place. But I say all that to say, there were times where you had kids who were trying to either one, hit you or bite at you, or hit and bite at other kids, or whatever the case may be. I just had to politely, hug them and love them, and, face them that way while giving them hugs or whatever, to let them know. Because I understand, sometimes that kids see their parents fussing and fighting. And I realized that was happening with some of them. They see their parents fuss and fight. And, so therefore, if they bring that stuff into, when it doesn't get resolved, should I say, at home, they bring it to other places to where it kind of manifests itself, and it comes out, and it shows up with them, lashing out at other kids or whatever. So this is what I'm saying is to say, because this is kind of like Spirit just trying to show you like things that can also happen in your life as well too. You've seen things along the way that you have seen as growing up as a child. So therefore, when you don't heal those wounds or those issues, those things manifest into other areas of your life. And I say all that to say that you start acting out, you start doing this and you start doing that. You don't even know why, because you've been accustomed to just keep hiding stuff to the point that some of you don't even know what's wrong or what's hidden beneath the surface. And some of you do know, but you're not really connecting the dots just yet, is what I'm hearing. But anyway, so with all that being said, I say all that to say, if I was dealing with the kids, and if I didn't, as long as I sat back and didn't say anything to the parents about the children's behavior, should I say, that I was being I was not being of service to those kids, should I say, because it was a matter of trying to help them. So once I started speaking my truth and letting parents know, hey, well, this is what we had to deal with today, and I just wanted to let you know we had to put them in timeout, and so on and so on, and redirect the child's behavior. This was being a service to that child, but not only the child, but it was being a service to the parents, because now it forced the parents to step up to the plate and also get on the same page as us as well too, especially if they wanted their kids to head in the right direction. Now, I'm not going to always say that we had parents who tried to rebel against that, and it was just like, just drop their kids off like, you deal with it, because you did have those, and parents, and You know, and I say all that to say, you know, you can't necessarily take it out on the child or whatever, but you just do your best and ask God, you know, to give you the strength in any situation, whether you're dealing with kids or whether, you know, whatever the case may be, or whether it's somebody else's kids or whatever. But understand that too. So anyway, so on that note, I hope my testimony has helped you guys in some sort of way to just let you know that we all go through stuff, and it's a matter of just being honest about it. You know, I could have sat here and kept it to myself, but you know, and nobody would have ever known that the cops showed up at my door. But I chose to share it with you because I felt I had to wait a few days to make sure that this is what Spirit wanted me to do or whatever, because I had to make sure that I'm not coming, I don't want somebody to think I'm coming from a place of boasting or bragging or, you know, doing any of that stuff. But it was just a matter of me standing up for my beliefs, standing up for my truth, and protecting mine, again, while not trying to hurt, harm, injure, or put my hands on anyone else. You know, so that's what we're all having to learn, that you can say what you need to say and speak your piece. It's all in a matter of how you do it. And I get it. Sometimes it may not always come out the way you want it to come out. And sometimes it may come out because we're not grounded, or, you know, we're not centered, and it may come out as and it may get a little tense or a little aggressive in certain situations. But the key is to just speak your truth. Just make sure that you're not violating anybody else's space in the process of doing it, is what I'm hearing Spirit say. And let me bring this to your attention, because I actually forgot to tell you this too. This was a dream that came through this morning too. Some of you guys may find a situation that I actually saw, and I'm not just saying this because I actually forgot, you know, about when I said the cops. It just reminded me. Some of you guys may find yourself dealing with a situation that somebody may get pulled over by the cops. I actually saw that. We're in that energy, and if it hasn't already happened, I just wanted to let you know that. So in the situation, just try to remain calm, just, you know, in the process, but speak your truth at the same time. I can't really say, I don't even know why they was being pulled over, but I just saw that in a dream. So I just want to let you guys know that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy your Sunday. Have a beautiful day. And I wish you all much love and much light on your spiritual journey. Bye.